companies lose the most money. Port congestion, chassis shortage, missed appointments. It's not just delays, it is profit disappearing. So, this is what we're gonna talk today. Welcome back to your Bestie in Freight. I'm your host, Lida, as always. And today's bestie is specializing in drayage. And we all know that what happens at the port doesn't stay at the port, it impacts your entire operation. So I have a special guest, Armenak Shahbazian. Thank you so much for being my bestie today, Armenak.
Thank you, Lida. It's a pleasure to be here and talking to you again, Lida.
Yes. So Armenak, you are the co-founder of Polo 3PL. So you have over 10 years.
Polo 4PL.
Yes, I'm sorry, Polo for PL. So you have over 10 years of experience across freight forwarding, drayage, warehousing, and full supply chain operation. And you have been in the middle of some of the most complex port and container challenges. So tell us about it. How did you started the company? The story behind it.
Okay, well, the story behind it, it's been a very fun ride and we're still going strong. We started back in 2015 into the industry. We
Mhm.
were moving like 18 wheelers, tractors, and trailers coast to coast. It was majority of our uncles, friends, family members. That's how we really started off. Just learning how picking up a load was and helping my uncle get a shipment and taking it from coast and making sure he's bringing it back backhaul. And then from there we purchased our own tractors and trailers. We got a fleet up to 10 tractors. We got 20 trailers. We were doing a lot of drop and hooks, a lot of consolidating shipments as well. And then we got into warehousing right when COVID just started. We ended up getting a warehouse, and we were doing a lot of like Target, Walmart, Costco, Amazon. We were filling up our warehouse. We were doing the drop trailers. We were moving our trucks coast to coast. And then we were looking at our neighbors, and we were because we were in Rancho Dominguez. It's about like 10 minutes, 15 minutes away from the Long Beach port. And we
Mhm.
see all our neighbor warehouses nearby. It's always containers coming in, containers, containers. And we're like, what are these people doing in containers? Like, what's this? And then we put our hands in it. We started learning. We actually went to our neighbors and we introduced ourselves and we talked to them, and everyone was nice, and
Mhm.
everyone was like helpful. And they said this industry is a very big ocean, like no pun intended. But and we're here to help each other out, and we're here. We don't sit there and we try to like backstab at each other. And that meant a lot to me, because in the trucking and the brokering game, and when you're trying to move your trucks, a lot of brokers would like turn around, try to cut the rates as a carrier company, and just try to save $100. And you do everything for them. You stay up late on the weekends. You make sure the truck is there, getting to the delivery appointments, small things like that. But then the brokers would just look at the profit margins. But then when we were with these warehouses and we were talking to them, they're like, it's just there's so much love to go around. There's no reason to hurt each other, and and
Wow.
and that meant a lot to me. And then they taught, like, we looked at the containers. We started learning how to do appointments. We got set up with the ports. We started getting our own chassis. We had our own yard. We started flipping these containers. And then whenever we had a lot of capacity, we were sharing it with our neighbors. Our neighbors would reach out to us, try to get our capacity for our warehouse. So it was just an amazing experience and learning experience for us.
Mhm.
And then we're like, you know what? We were getting customers not just asking for Long Beach, they were also asking for other ports like Houston, Texas, Florida, Newark, New Jersey, New York, Chicago, Oakland. And we're like, man, like we gotta get out there. We can't deny business, that's in our nature. And and then we started branching out. We started connecting with other warehouses, and then we realized, okay, you know what? We're brokering now. Let's get an authority and see where we could take this. And then we started brokering, contracting all the major ports, and ended up selling all our assets, moving back hometown over here in Glendale, California, and we're a full
Yeah.
4PL freight broker, and we just recently got our NVOCC international license. So
Wow.
now we're learning more about ocean and air cargo. So
Wow.
we're trying to do the supply chain A to Z. So
I love it.
it's
I
been a
have a
fun
lot
ride.
Yeah, I have a lot of people who want to do ocean and I'm not touching it. So I now know who I should recommend. That's amazing. Congratulations on
I'm still learning. I'll help you the most I can, but you know, if I can't do it, I'll definitely reach out to someone, like introduce you that someone will help you. You know.
that's amazing. So Armena, most people think once a container hits a port, the hard part is over. But from what you have seen, where does that thinking go wrong?
Okay. Can you rephrase that question, please?
Yeah,
So
so
ask me one more time.
yes, so container when hits the port, right? It doesn't mean that the supply chain is over and the hard part is over. And a lot of people, that's how they think that it's over, but it's wrong thinking. Can you please explain us the correct way of thinking?
Right. So a lot of importers that bring in their commodities to the country, they deal with a freight forwarder or customs broker.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fine line between international and domestic. So whenever the freight forwarder takes it on themselves to bring the container to this country, it gets passed off to the customs broker. The customs broker then clears the commodity, but then the importer just assumes that, like how you said, it's done. But then no, there's a whole different aspect in domestic where the broker comes in, schedules the appointment to pick up the container, deliver the container goods, empty the container, and return it back to the port. That's
Yeah.
a whole process. And a lot of freight forwarders, like, they just know how to pass that. But when the importer comes in, it's just difficult for them to understand, hey, there's so many moving parts here that you need to make sure to coordinate all this. So where we come in as a 4PL, we make sure all these parties, like the liaison between international and domestic, connect, you know, so they don't get any extra fees or costs or anything like that.
Yeah. So can you please explain me and my audience, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know, what is the difference between 3PL and 4PL?
3PL is someone that is managing warehousing and outbound, mainly domestic.
Mm-hmm.
4PL is managing all four parties in the logistics. So you have your freight forwarding, you have your customs, you have your warehousing, and you have your domestic over the road.
Yeah, so it is all. You handle it
It's all,
all inclusive,
yeah,
right?
all inclusive, A to
Totally.
Z. We manage all the parties. We make sure everyone invoices correctly. No one gets any penalties added. We create one invoice and give it to the importer to make sure everything's right. So they worry about marketing, selling, and pushing their product.
Well, I love it because I think a lot of customers they don't want to deal with different providers, right? Just being 4PL is so much easier if you are doing an amazing job and why customer needs to go to another provider.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. So where do companies lose the most money when it comes to drayage and port operation, but don't even realize it? Because there is a lot of fees and stuff going on, right?
Exactly. And it was your first question that actually nails this question. It's the disconnect between the international and domestic parties. It's like like, because there is a delay in communication, that's
Mhm.
where the fees rack up. So by the time the freight forwarder passes to the customs broker, they need to make sure they need to clear the commodity before the drayage carrier can make an appointment to pick up the container. So whenever these delays happen in communication, the fees start racking up because the steamship line charges to park their container, the chassis company charge for having the container on the chassis, and then FMC 18 with the whole international thing. If you delay some things, if you don't get your ISF filed in time, you need to get an annual bond. You can't just get a single entry. So there's just this little things, and there's detention all across the board, not just the trucking company, but also the steamship line as well.
Yes, I know a lot of detentions on drayage part. But
Everywhere.
yeah, what is something you see over and over again, even from experienced importers or companies?
Just fear, like one little thing that happens is whenever the freight forwarder passes off the container to clear with the customs broker, and then the arrival notice shows up at the importer's email, they fail to pay just that little fee, hence arrival notice, or get the telex release in, just to clear that creates all these delays, sometimes even weeks, you know. And then when that happens, you know what happens when your container is stuck at the port. The merge racks up fast.
Well, Armenak, so when too many containers hit the port at once, right? Everything slows down. And I think that's what happened during COVID. And now maybe with this fuel pricing might happen again. Can you please break down what's actually happening behind the scene?
What's happening is all these steamship lines are showing up at once.
Mhm.
Everyone's trying to book reservations at the steamship line. There is a priority line happening, so of course there's people locking in contracts ahead of time. Some
Mhm.
people like playing with the spot every month, every 30 days the rates change. So whenever you're not contracted and you're playing the spot market, everyone's in a rush, prices go up. By the
Yeah.
time all these containers hit the port, there's something called port congestion. So
Yeah.
these drayage carriers start adding that to their fees because why they're waiting in line for hours just to pick up the container and get it out. And then we have also the union workers working at the ports overtime. And I know they do their best to unload containers, but it's just when it comes physically getting these containers unloaded, it just gets backed up. So everyone gets a little stressed out and things tend to get backed up and fees start going up. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. So, what should companies be doing differently before their freight even arrives at the port?
Just making sure they like just a simple checklist of getting, hey, let me get my commercial invoice ready. Let me get my bill of lading ready. Let me get my packaging list ready. Let me
Mhm.
make sure I know what steamship line I'm using. Don't jump around steamship lines. Keep your provider the same, just so they know how your containers are. Whenever you're bringing it into the country, CBB knows you're organized. You have all your documents ready. They don't pull you in into an X-ray. When that happens, your container is stuck into the CBP port exams, price transfer. So it's just having everything organized, talking to the right people that are proactive.
Yeah.
Don't wait for last minute things when the arrival notice comes. You're just clearing your ISF. It's just everything right when your container, before your container gets on the ship, make sure you have all your documents from your manufacturer. That's the
Wow.
best thing to say,
Yeah.
and just get everyone in the loop. If you're dealing with a customs broker, a freight forwarder, a drayage carrier, just put everyone in one communication thread and have all your documents ready and just get it going,
Yeah, just
be
staying
proactive.
organized and proactive and be prepared. This is so amazing.
Exactly.
I mean, like, I think you have to create some book or training because there is nothing, I think, in the market that teaches drayage. So, how someone that is interested to become a drayage provider or freight broker start? Like, how we, learn about all of this?
That's a great question. You could hit up your local 4PL company. No, I'm kidding. I'm trying to advertise. But how to learn drayage? It's getting with the manufacturer. So if like, are you asking as an importer how they want to learn drayage, or just a person being a drayage representative to help people clear their containers and bring it in?
Yeah, being a drayage freight broker, I would say.
Okay. Um, the best piece is go to your local associations. There is Harbor Trucking Association,
Mhm.
there is the Long Beach Association. There's so many helpful associations in our community in LA, and I'm sure there are in other states as well. Just attend, and everybody's really cool, and you talk and you connect with people, you network people in the industry. As like, yeah, they could be your competitor, but everyone's out there to teach each other as like a human. I think that's our purpose, to help each other out is the highest goal. So
Yeah.
I think don't be shy, don't be stuck in your office, get out there, go to your associations, go to your chamber of commerce, and just try to learn the most you can in your industry, and that's how you'll learn.
Yeah, I love it. Helping each other and networking. That's,
Yeah,
my core
definitely.
values, right? Especially as
Yep.
Armenians. I love
And
it.
I know you're very big on that, Lydia. When I first met you, you helped me out a lot with a few things, especially in marketing, and I appreciate that, and I will never forget that.
Thank you, Armenak. So we are seeing more automations and artificial intelligence entering logistics. Do you see that improving drayage or port operation, or are we still far, far from that?
No, I think we're there. I think we're around the corner.
Mhm.
And there's very big automations happening right now behind the scene, especially these bigger brokers that are using it.
Yes.
And it's amazing what's happening. And just like how I said, it's like you have that checklist. People think like AI, like, oh my god, AI is gonna do everything and take me out of the job. No, it's basically teaching, looking at your task as your job. Like like, let's say dry van, for example. I know you do flatbed step decks, and
Mhm.
there's just a protocol in those steps. It's like you just break it down into groups, and then you can treat your one AI agent to do that one task, and then you get another one to do another task, another task, another task, and then you get an orchestrator to do all those fine tasks for you that you oversee. So I know that a lot of the big brokers are taking it on. Just simple tasks as submitting PODs and reviewing PODs and taking it back, and even just dispatching the truck drivers. It's all there, and
Yeah.
it's exciting stuff for sure.
Yeah.
We're very hands on with that.
Yes, I love it. We have been helping actually few companies to automate that bill of lading submission process, and we connected their invoicing system, whether it is
Okay.
books, TMS, QuickBooks, or whatever platforms they have. So they just automate this process, which has been very helpful. So I love that you see it in a positive way, because a lot of companies say that AI is not there yet, AI is not there yet, but I feel like
Yeah,
it's
it's there.
there.
Do you guys also help with AR by any chance?
Yes, we do.
AR and AP?
Yes, definitely. We can talk after the call, but we do have with AI agent, automations, workflows, everything that we can automate, we do it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, where do you see the port logistics and drayage evolving in the next 3, 5 years? Because a lot of stuff is happening in the world with fuel and war. Of course, it's difficult to predict, but I would love to get to know your opinion.
Um, like in my opinion, we're seeing the volume increase.
Mhm.
As all these things are happening. I know we've been talking a lot about duties and taxes and the war going on, but we have data points that we look at on a daily, and w- we're seeing increase in volume, importing, especially exporting too. That the demand is there. Um, I think third and fourth quarter will really feel it, because the first quarter of this year was a very interesting quarter, because a lot of people were kind of idolizing like the regular importers that are already in the industry. They're like kind of holding back, but we
Mhm.
were seeing a lot of new importers coming into the game, and
Yeah,
they weren't minding the duties and taxes. And it's a very interesting play that's happening. But the whole war, I'm not too much into that. It's above my pay grade for sure. But hopefully everything gets resolved and we could come with a negotiation and a resolution to that. And I think our industry will boom, because there's so much construction happening. There's so much energy, solar panel, transformers, all these
yeah,
AI automation chips. So it looks bright. The future definitely looks bright.
I love it. I love the positivity,
Yeah.
because sometimes we just need to say it to make it happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. The opportunity is there. It's for sure there. It's just the trends you have to follow to know where to go and
I
where to look.
I agree, Armenak. So if someone listening right now that is dealing with delays, raising cost, and port congestion, what is the first thing they should fix?
Delays, port congestion. First thing to fix, if you're getting delayed, look into what ship line you're using.
Mhm.
If you know the expected volume you're getting this year, I would definitely discuss with some long-term contracts, just to secure yourself, because you don't know where the rates are going. You don't know where the fuel is going.
Mhm.
People are saying it's going up above $10 a diesel, so I would lock in a contract. If you know you're bringing 20, 30, 40 containers a year, lock in something, stay with the same steamship line,
Mhm.
talk with your customs broker, see what duties and taxes, where it's going, what countries are benefiting. Talk to your manufacturers. Don't stick with only one manufacturer. Shop it around. Same
Yeah.
thing with your carriers. Anything domestic, shop it around. Don't just accept the rate you're getting, because everything's fluctuating. Some people are taking advantage, and some people are just staying true to their rates, hoping that it's just going to come back down and they could keep the volume going.
Yeah, I love it. That's so interesting that you mentioned, because I had another call with inventory management company, right? And he was also suggesting that shop around, check other manufacturers, the exact same thing, that
Yeah.
that is a confirmation that we have to check more manufacturers and more providers. I love it.
This is the opportunity, because a lot of customers are going to be shopping around, and if you're there and you give a decent price, not too much of a markup, you will
Mm-hmm.
get new customers and you will keep them for the long term. The people
Yeah,
right now that are price gouging and overcharging and getting these customers, they're going to lose them in a couple of months. They're not going to stick around because someone else is going to come. I'm not saying go low on your margins and just work for free, but
yeah.
don't overcharge these customers, and you will eat longer than a temporary gain, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is one of the best times to get more new customers,
Yes.
because customers are more open to check new providers. But at the same time, as you said, you have to provide good service and not overcharge them to keep them and build that long-lasting relationship. We are on the same
Exactly.
page.
Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
don't work for free, you know, don't go too cheap because your time is valuable too.
Of course. Well, on this note, I want to mention my sponsor, Digital Permit Book. If you are a carrier company, you already know how messy documents can get: permits, insurance, and driver info. Digital Permit Book keeps everything organized and instantly accessible, which means faster verification, less back and forth, and smoother operation overall. So, Armenak, if you have carrier companies with more than 10 trucks, please let them know about our amazing digital permit book. And
100% I will.
yes, and I have a rapid fire question, no overthinking. Are you ready?
Okay. Let's
Biggest
do it.
mistake in drayage?
Biggest mistake in drayage,
Yes.
booking the appointment last minute and not having a truck to go pick it up.
Port congestion, temporary or the new normal?
Temporary.
Drayage planning, overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
And one metric every shipper should track?
Mm, I have two metrics. Is that
Yes.
okay? uh,
Two metrics
port,
then.
port optimizers that you could see how many containers are coming in a week online, and then the second one, diesel prices in the country.
Oh, wow. Yes, that's for sure very important. Thank you so much. I know in English you want to be also called Greg. So which one you prefer, Armenak or Greg?
Armenak is my grandfather's name, so I prefer Armenak, but I'm so nice and considerate that I made the name Greg, so just
To make
whoever
it
has
easy.
trouble with it, it's just easier for them.
Oh, that's so funny you said that, because my name is my grandma's name.
Oh
And
wow, it's a
yes,
beautiful name.
thank you. When I was a kid, actually, I was not liking it because only grandmas and aunts had it. But now I started to like it because it is very unique in America.
Yeah, and
So
you keep her in memory too for a long time.
yes. Thank you so much, Armenak. I think a lot of people underestimate how much happens at the port and how expensive those small mistakes really are. And you opened our eyes for a lot of stuff. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your insights. And for everyone listening, if you got value from this episode, make sure you subscribe, share it with someone in your network who is interested in drayage, and like the episode and check out the resources Armenak mentioned, right? And if you are an exporter or importer, please reach out to Armenak for all of your 4PL needs. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Armenak.